Hi there, I'm Rob Harmont from robshealthcoach.com, a well-known nutritionist, health coach, and writer. So what I do is basically help people regain their metabolic, that's physical, and mental health. Because once you become unhealthy, overweight, and sick, have multiple illnesses, you tend to lose your mind quite easily too. Meaning you get frustrated, you get stressed, you get angered easily, and you can end up depressed. So what I do is something special, and it works always, and it's the only thing that works for health, weight loss, strength gain, and to maintain it for a healthy lifestyle for good, which will also increase your longevity. That's something that people don't understand, and it does not involve training. Okay? Yes, there is an element of training in my program. It's called movement. So the first part is nutrition, food. 80% of the program focuses around food. We eat real food, eat proper food for the human diet, as humans should eat. Stay away from all carbs, grains, highly processed foods, and sugar above all. Okay, that sums it up. So what do we eat? We eat meat. All kinds of meat, the fattier the better. We eat the fat that's left over in the frying pan from the meat, because that's healthy animal fat, which we thrive on. Our bodies are made of protein, fat, and water, okay? You've been told that fat is bad for you, saturated fat, and animal fat in particular, but it's not true. That's the plant-based community and people that are pushing that upon us for their own personal reasons and to make money. And of course the food industry, which produces 80% junk, 85% junk. Kraft, Heinz, Unilever, Nestle, and so on. There's like 5 or 6 of the big food companies. So we primarily eat meats, fish, seafood, eggs. So those are all the protein-based parts. Then lots of butter. So I always cook with butter or coconut oil, but I prefer butter because it gives the food a creamy, rich taste. Then I finish the meat off with butter on top to have more animal fat. We also eat plenty of other yummy things like homemade high-fat yogurt with heavy whipping cream. Then berries. Berries are great, the only fruit to eat because they're low in carb and high in antioxidants and full of vitamins, okay? Raw milk is great if you can get it, but you can't get that here. In Cambodia at least, but where you can get it, in America, you should definitely drink raw milk and high-fat yogurts, eat high-fat yogurt. And coffee, tea. I drink my coffee with whipping cream, 36% whipping cream, no carb, okay, so added fat. And you can also have some dark chocolate from time to time, 75-80% dark chocolate. Is also high fat, low carb to no carb, very low carb, hardly any sugar inside. And cheese. I love cheese. Cheese is great. It's fine. You can eat cheese. It's got lots of protein and fat in it, and it's healthy. So people who say that cheese is not good for you, that's wrong. Bacon is great for you. Bacon is fantastic. Bacon is one of the best cuts ever. Well, any pork belly, fattier the better. You know, you cook that bacon, you keep the grease, and you cook those eggs in that grease. You got the best, healthiest breakfast, lunch, or dinner you want. You know, so you can also. This is basically the keto carnivore diet I'm talking about. I don't like to call it that too much. I like to call it the proper human diet, because that's what it is. That's how we were created as humans in the first place. Some 20 million years ago, our primal ancestors had no choice but to eat meat, and they had to hunt and gather it. Okay, so that was it. They were in the supermarkets. They didn't get processed foods. There were no grains. Grains didn't exist until about 20,000 years ago, when on the advent of civilization, they were cultivated when people came together, the villages. Before then, there were no grains. There was no pasta, no bread, no rice, no cereals, no sweets, no desserts, nothing. Okay, so that's how we were created, and that's how we're supposed to eat. Things have changed over time because the food industry has evolved massively. They make billions and billions of dollars of money. That then in turn makes people sicker and sicker. I mean, the biggest cause of death right now in the USA and worldwide and is on the rise steeply for the last 30 years is heart attacks and strokes caused by obesity from eating terrible junk food, carbs and sugar, okay, and fast foods. That's a fact. You can look it up, Google it. What's the biggest cause of death in the USA or worldwide? You'll see. Heart attacks and strokes. And that, my friends, isn't coincidence, isn't hereditary, isn't bad luck. It comes from eating terrible food, which 95% of the people worldwide do. Now, when I walk through town, I'm in Siem Reap right now. I live in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, so I go back and forth. I spend a week here, or 3-4 days here, a week in Phnom Penh. So I coach people personally in both places, just so you know. So, and I do it online as well. So many clients are online in the US and in Europe, and I have a few good clients I work with selectively here. They have to, if you want to work with me, you have to understand what's going on, what's expected of you, what you need to do. You need to follow the program, and you need to follow my advice, and stay on the wagon. Because if you don't follow the advice and keep falling off the wagon and going back to the bad food and making silly mistakes and then saying it's not working, well then sorry, it's not my fault, it's yours, and because you just don't have the commitment and the willpower. That's the key. You need to have commitment and willpower to get your health back. You know, in your teens and early 20s and so on, it's the problem. People are always, mostly, although you see plenty of young people, young fat people around today too. The gym just over here, there's young guys in there training like crazy. They're lean and thin, strong, but they're training like crazy because they're young. But once you hit your 30s, mid-30s, go into your 40s, that's when all the fat has already crept upon you, okay? It's called insidious weight gain. Every year you get heavier and heavier because you keep absorbing all those carbs and terrible seed oils the food is cooked in, and that makes you fatter and fatter. Now, I'll get away from the sun here a little bit. So, the only way to lose weight effectively and efficiently and to keep it off for good is to stop eating junk food. And that's grains. And anything made from grains, including beer, which is made from hops, or wheat also, you know, Weizenbier, Weissbier. It's terrible. And sugar. There's sugar added to everything. So you cannot buy and you should not eat anything packaged or processed, okay? Anything in a box, in a can is full of sugar, added sugar too. Just look at the labels. And it also contains seed oils added. Why? Because it somehow makes the food tastier, but seed oil is carcinogenic, causes cancer, just so you know. So you have to avoid seed oils completely, all right? So, the second part is movement. Movement contributes about maybe 10% to a successful weight loss program, but the movement doesn't have to be intense. It shouldn't be. It should be the opposite. It should be light to moderate. Because intense exercising every day releases a huge amount of cortisol, our stress hormone, which is basically warns us of danger. But if you're training like that, you don't notice it because you're training and you think it's great. And you're also in a state of euphoria, which is your happy hormone, serotonin, and forget the other one now. Anyway, your happy hormones being released, making you feel good. But then that leads to eating more because you're hungry. You're far hungrier after like an hour or two of heavy lifting and so on. So that leads to excessive eating and a stronger appetite, which you don't want. And you also don't want to be eating 3 meals a day, okay? 1 or 2 is enough if you eat the right stuff. So the movement aspect, I don't call it fitness or exercise, it's movement. It contains tons of walking, lots of walking, fast-paced walking or slow jogging, keeping your heart rate in the aerobic zone. So your maximum heart rate, 180 minus your age, that's your aerobic zone maximum, okay? In my case, I'm in my early 50s, that's around 130. So, and then swimming. Swimming is great. I go in the pool here almost every day where I am, and I have a pool in my place in Phnom Penh. Swimming for distance is fantastic, it keeps you aerobic, and then swim sprinting. That's the other part of the movement, sprinting. So once a week, maybe twice a week, I do a session of swim sprints or step sprints where I blast the hell out of the pool, go as fast as I can, 10, 12, 14 lengths with a good 20-second, 30-second break in between. That whole session lasts about 12 minutes. So I've released cortisol into my heart, which stresses it, but it's only 12 minutes, once or twice a week, as opposed to an hour or two every day that most people in the gym do, okay? The other part is strength training, which I do as well, but I use my body as my gym, meaning calisthenics. So you do not need to lift a single weight. All my muscles, all my strength, all my core, my leanness, everything comes from just doing simple exercises like push-ups, planks, squats, lunges. I also do skill things like headstands, handstands. I have 14 different variations of the plank, you know, forward plank, side plank, backwards plank, etc., etc. And so on. I've got like 40 to 60 different bodyweight movements, exercises, okay? So I do that during my walks, 2, maximum 3 times a week, and it doesn't take more than, so I'll do 3 sets. One set will take about 2-3 minutes, 50 push-ups, 50 squats, and 2 to 3 minute plank, and then the 30 or 40 lunges along the way. That takes about 5 minutes, and then you go continue your walk, and that's it. So that's how the program basically works. And then you've got a few lifestyle things such as meditation, such as mind calming techniques, such as getting enough sleep, such as getting enough sunshine, which we need desperately. We need to get sun on our skin and the bigger parts of our body to absorb vitamin D, happy hormone, which also boosts and keeps our immune system strong. So by covering yourself up and spending time in the dark gym and not going outside in nature, you're not getting vitamin D. Okay, and the walking gives you vitamin D too, because you're outside in nature. Again, the walking also makes you happy, releases creativity in your mind, it opens the creative side of your brain, and makes you feel good, positive. And it's also great for your joints, your knees, your ankles, your back. It doesn't put too much pressure on them. It builds bone density, and it also burns fat. You may think it's boring, but it's not. A 45-minute fast-paced walk is great, because you can also work, you can listen to music, you can write down notes, you can call people, so you can do stuff, you know. It's not like it's a boring walk, okay? You can't do that if you're running like a crazy man, and you're also busting your heart doing that, by the way, okay? So that's that. Anyway, that's what I do. I'm a professional certified nutritionist, professionally certified trainer, professionally certified health consultant coach, and I write about it a lot. So I'm a writer, blogger. I've released 4 ebooks on the matters: food, fitness, lifestyle, and training. All on my website, robshealthcrunch.com. So I would highly recommend you go to robshealthcrunch.com and subscribe here to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, okay? Save it and watch my stuff. And also then go to my blog and subscribe to the blog there in the subscribe section. And I write every day, and I post a newsletter with my latest updates every 2 days. So you're always up to date with what I'm talking about, what I'm recommending, and so on. So anyway, so I'm available personally in Siem Reap and in Phnom Penh for those people who are serious, are interested in losing their weight and regaining their full health. That's what I do. I do it seriously and nothing else. I'm available online or worldwide. I also fly to people in different places, which I've done several times, to spend a week or 2 with them to get them started. So I'm here right now in Siem Reap, starting off with a new client in person, which I do all the time. So if you're interested, please get in touch with me, because I see plenty of middle-aged people like me, you know, in their early 40s, 50s, who are terribly overweight and desperately need to lose the weight. Otherwise, they're simply going to become, well, they are already diabetic probably, and are obese, borderline obese, or becoming obese, and that will then lead to an early death by means of heart attack and stroke. And along the way, you're going to have several problems and illnesses and medications and doctor's visits and costs and so on and so forth. All of that can be avoided naturally by living life following natural principles. That's my motto. Keep it simple, keep it easy, keep it clean. That's Rob's Health Crunch, okay? robshealthcrunch.com. I do it right, and anyone who tells you differently doesn't know what they're talking about and is a liar, okay? Right, that's it. Come and check it out. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, Rob, from robshealthcrunch.com. Bye-bye.